But we do not want to tolerate terrorism.
Okay, fair enough. Dr. Singhvi, you've been raising your hand, you want to react to that? Yes.
One time I was raising my hand because I couldn't hear anything, but now I am hearing you. I think all Indians are proud when India speaks at international fora, and I think the Foreign Minister put up a valiant show as a representative of India must. But we have to note 3 or 4 things which are a matter of worry and concern for us. One, the world is asking us, and will keep asking us, that 9 days have passed. What concrete actions have you taken? And concrete actions, Rahul, do not mean that I must immediately go and bomb someone or follow in hot pursuit. Our concrete actions are now lingering for too long, whether it is MFN status revocation, whether it is economic sanctions, whether it is something to do with asylum to be granted or not to be granted, whether our parliament session convened to declare Pakistan a terrorist state. You see, people will not go on in this country or internationally with us if we keep on repeating rhetoric. And that is the only concern we have. We are all with the government as far as these principles are concerned, as far as their declaration the UN is concerned. But now we want concrete action, and these are minimally the most easy to undertake. They are not immediately coercive in the sense of creating international UN cry and opprobrium. But we find, unfortunately, that a lot of chest thumping has happened, but virtually zero concrete action on the ground. And may I end by saying, India has had problems before. 26/11 is no small problem. Very solid action was taken after 26/11, which I have itemized specifically in my press conference today. And 26/11 has not recurred.
No, I understand that. But Dr. Singhvi, was the UNGA the platform where Sushma Swaraj was going to list out the actions that she is expecting India to take? I mean, there are pictures coming. There's a whole Indian community thronging her, seeking her autograph. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated Sushma Swaraj for a firm, effective and fine articulation of a wide range of global issues that UNGA...
No.
Yeah, go ahead.
You have got me wrong.
Go ahead, sir.
You have got me wrong, Rahul. Please let me correct you. On the contrary, Sushma Swaraj, I started by saying, has done a valiant, good job. Her stance would have been highly strengthened had these concrete actions or some of them been taken within India. That's the point I'm making. We are proud Indians who stand up when the foreign minister speaks. She could not have said anything
1 minute,
else.
sir.
But the point is that internally, if you only make declarations without domestic national action, then her hands are not strengthened internationally.
Well, let me tell you, sir, what Randeep Surjewala has said. And he is, of course, the head of your media cell. And he says, deeply disappointed by EAM. Sushma Swaraj's address in the United Nations even steered shy of calling Pakistan a terror state. Strategic ambiguity writ large. Modi government again flip-flops on Pakistan in the United Nations. Lets India down. Much touted offensive of Modi government is unreal, misleading and hollow. Dr. Singhvi, how do you react to this, sir? You say it was a valiant effort. Randeep Surjewala says that it was a disappointing speech.
No.
Strategic ambiguity.
Please.
Valiant but disappointing.
If you read, can you read, if you just combine 3 things, my press conference in the evening where I used the phrases failure to have strategic response, strategic ambiguity. Second, her words and Randeep Surjewala's comments and my comments are all emphasizing and underlining the fact that they have remained on paper mere words. I itemized 8 specific things the government should have done in these 9 days. They have not got done, which is why people start thinking domestically and internationally that mere words will get you nowhere.
Well, sir, we've taken a huge leap today. And excuse the pun, watershed moment, suspension of Indus Water Commission talks, review of the Tulbul project are the first steps taken by India. Punishing steps, sir. this will really send the shivers up and down the spines of Pakistanis. Depending on Pakistan's response, India may take this action further. Let me just broaden the canvas out. I don't want to be stuck on one or two guests. Let's just open this up. We have a great panel tonight. Pawan Verma, where would you rate this speech? I have Sushma Swaraj's speech from last year, where only patchy references are made to Pakistan. In fact, the name figures once or twice in connection with the 2008 Mumbai terror attacks, etc., etc. Here, 10 minutes of an 18-minute speech are dedicated to stripping Pakistan in public. That's a huge marked shift.
And well, Rahul, in my view, I think it was, in terms of the context of what has happened in Uri, a successful speech. I am happy that she attempted not to fall a prey to the symmetry that Pakistan wants to bring between Pakistan and India on the international stage. In other words, reduce India's clout and stature as a superpower to the level of Pakistan as part of an unending and acrimonious tutu meme, thereby conveying that India and Pakistan are basically at par on the world stage. So therefore, the fact that she touched on other issues and in fact began with them is something I would rate as a plus. Secondly, I think that she had to raise the question of terrorism, but I am happy that she raised it in the broader context not only of Pakistan, although her finger was pointing directly at Islamabad, but in the context of the threat that terrorism poses globally. In other words, her appeal was to the world that if you ignore a terrorist state or a state that sponsors terrorism, you do so at the peril of endangering global peace and harmony, which I think was a good message. Thirdly, I think by referring to Balochistan, I think the point that was being made, since the Prime Minister has already now made it a plank of his foreign policy by raising it at the Red Fort, I think the point that she was making is that if international terrorism is the greatest violation of human rights, then a state that practices that form of terrorism must inevitably also violate human rights internally.
I think that's a very good point.
Now, this being said, I will add two caveats in 20 seconds. Firstly, I want to say to you, without taking away the sense of euphoria you seem to project, that a speech at the United Nations is a ritual. And in that sense, 190 statesmen of the world or thereabouts make these speeches largely to an empty hall.
Yes.
The point is that if you have begun this exercise, it must be followed up by a rigorous, sustained, consistent, planned, strategically oriented campaign in the principal chancelleries of the world to globally isolate Pakistan on the issue of terrorism. And last point is, and I think there what Mr. Singhvi said I want to resonate, which is that ultimately countries respect other countries when they see that country standing up in terms of taking the right steps to avenge what is an obvious attack of terror that it is faced gratuitously and consistently from across the world.
So, Pawan Verma, you also don't think...
Therefore, I think that we need to go beyond rhetoric.
Okay, so you also don't think that the Modi administration...
The Prime Minister said repeatedly, prior to the... Last 10 seconds. The Prime Minister said repeatedly in 2014 and subsequently and now that he will take action. Let's see some action on the ground. Then countries hear your voice with greater clarity and understand your sincerity better.
Okay. G.V.L. Narasimha Rao, you have to address why two opposition parties are tonight feeling so underwhelmed by the actions of the Modi government. Why would this be the case?
Rahul Gandhi Unfortunately, that has been the case with this government and with this opposition. Nowhere in the world you would see opposition parties, and that too the principal opposition party, which does not have that status in parliament, by the way, but continues to be an important political party, acting in a very partisan manner and not acting against their own top leaders who continuously express sympathies for Pakistan and seem to have great reverence for people like Hafiz Saeed, Osama bin Laden, and they want to use this opportunity to somehow berate the government, thinking that they will be covered with pro-nationalist credentials by simply making these comments. I think people of the country are tired of these antics. People of the country are tired of the political opposition, which is continuously berating the government without looking at the nationalistic national interests. Although they continuously say we are with the government, we appreciate her speech, but they will always add a but and will want to speak the language that will sound like music to the people across, to the establishment across the border. This hypocrisy and these attempts will not be appreciated by the people of the country. This is a government elected by the people of India.
Okay, Dr. Singhvi.
When you say you are standing with the people of the country,
you're being accused.
This government represents the will of the people of India.
Okay,
this government has a duty to the people of India.
Okay,
I think
Dr. Singhvi, you're being accused. You're being accused of posturing. You're being accused of betraying the national interest. And Ms. Sushma Swaraj came out and said today that let's unite for a cause. Let's unite across our differences, add steel to our resolve and inject urgency in our response. If we're divided at home, if that is the message that is going to go out, sir, why will the international community take us seriously when we make that appeal globally?
Rahul.
Yes, sir.
Rahul, the BJP representative has just proved in front of all of you that the BJP's definition of democracy is that all of us must shake our heads in assent. And the moment we give any constructive suggestion by way of dissent, we are all nation breakers, unpatriotic and anti-country. This is exactly the kind of intolerance which the BJP displays. When I say, Rahul, that these are the security leaks at Uri or Pathankot, 1, 2, 3, am I being anti-national? Or am I asking for reform? When I say you must take stern action against leakages or failures in the army or the political leadership, because unless we set our house in order, more and more will infiltrate, am I being anti-national? The point is that this is a paradigm which the BJP has invented to scare people, and they are now scared that we are not scared of it. We don't think that this definition of patriotism is anything less or more than the refuge of scoundrels who believe that any disagreement is by itself unpatriotic, just like they are filing sedition cases across the country.
Okay,
DP
Tripathi.
To the moment you disagree, you doubt your nationalism.
Okay, very quick response, rebuttal from GV Narasimha Rao, and I want to bring in DP Tripathi and his vice counsel. Yes, go ahead.
No, Rahul, any kind of constructive opposition, any kind of suggestions from any party are welcome in a democracy. Even criticism is valid. But you see the opposition party carping all the time. The moment the attack happens, you see them carping the government and seeming to be completely jittery about this government becoming successful. And after every such attack, you see a kind of
some will say, so what goes around comes around.
The Congress party.
Some will say what goes around comes around.
If there is a change of heart in the if there is a change of strategy in the Congress
what goes
party,
around comes around.
I would ask the Congress spokesperson.
Okay.
Why don't they take action against their own leaders?
Okay,
Why don't they ask Mr. Salman Khurshid to apologize?
Okay, one second.
When
Let
Prime
me bring
Minister
in.
talks about Balochistan,
Okay.
Salman Khurshid speaks for Pakistan.
Okay, gentlemen.
Are you a party for India? Are you a party for Pakistan? When
Okay.
Manishankar Iyer wants talks to happen, even when our soldiers are attacked, Is he speaking for the Congress party, or does everyone speak individually in the Congress party and there is no Congress party?
Okay, we need to rise above this, gentlemen. Tonight we need to rise above this. We need to rise above this. I can see that, look, let's not always reduce terrorism to a zero-sum game and the fight against terror to a zero-sum game. I understand that both sides have grievances, but I just want to bring in DP Tripathi. DP Tripathi, how should we respond to this speech tonight? Sushma Swaraj takes the lectern. In 18 minutes, she makes a hard-hitting speech by all accounts. She touches subjects that she hasn't done in her previous speech. On the face of it, Dr. Singhvi said it's a valiant speech. Pawan Verma says that it's a speech that puts the message across. Where do you come in on this, sir?
I come in, Rahul, because every text has a context. This speech was made in this chain situation after Pathankot, Uri, and internationally various terrorist activities in different parts of the world, which she mentions. And I think her speech is not merely excellent, it is effective. Effective because she uses hard words, but not hot words. This is effective. It is not merely excellent, it is effective. And we appreciate this speech because she uses hard words and not hot words. And the global position of India, as Pawan Verma pointed out, is the best point, best message given by her. And this attack on terrorism, when people talk about actions, about all these terrorist attacks, which Mr. Singhvi mentioned, before I do that, I want to say one sentence to Mr. GVL Narasimha Rao, that when we say but, while appreciating this speech, positions of the government vis-a-vis Pakistan and terrorism, this but is the voice of democracy. This but is not the rifle but, that they should be scared of it. This is part of our consensus, broad consensus, and support to our positions. You see, when we talk about actions in these kind of complex...
Yes. Okay, I think we've lost him there. General Mehta, well, you had an observation to make also.
I thought that
yes.
Sushma ji is very, very effective in Parliament.
Right.
And we also, her delivery is absolutely par excellence. She was a little below par today in her presentation.
Well, that's because DP Tripathi says that she wanted to be hard but not hot.
But no, that doesn't detract from the message. The message is delivered, but the sharpness of that message, the tonality of that message, her style, her usual style and her demeanor was missing. And you know, that is half the part of fluency and articulation, which she is very good. So obviously, so I don't want to spend too much of time on that, but I want to make one observation which has been touched upon by Mr. Singhvi, and that is 9 days or 10 days have passed, and barring what you have just announced about the suspension of the Indus Water Commission, no other action has been taken by this government domestically. You see, when an incident of this nature happens, there is the international community that you are dealing with, the region.
So what are you saying, sir?
So what I am saying is that there has been no action. The government is sitting on the fence vis-a-vis Pakistan in taking any action of isolating it in terms of downgrading the diplomatic status, withdrawing the MFN,
right,
taking concrete action. No concrete
action. So you're saying that the rhetoric doesn't match the action.
Not even
we lost you.
Not even the military action.
We lost you. General Mehta says that while he understands the analogy you were trying to draw, hard and not hot, he does believe that she was underwhelming in her delivery. General Mehta, DP Tripathi.
No, see, what I was saying is, which I could not translate to you, exactly what General Mehta is saying, that it is not merely talking about actions or its planning or consultations. When you act, and everybody knows, when the actions speak, not the rhetoric, it is when that diplomacy is effective. This is what I was saying. That is why I quoted Vidur from Mahabharata. You know, that is the translation of that verse which I quoted. So there I agree with Mr. Singhvi and General Mehta.
Okay.
But the point is that in such a situation, India has to stay away from jingoism and unnecessary, unusual belligerence, which the External Affairs Minister showed in her address to the General Assembly of United Nations.
Okay, let me go across to Dr. Singhvi once more. Dr. Singhvi, you've talked about the lack of demonstrable action. You've said that there has been rhetoric, but look at where we are at tonight. There's Balochistan, which has been brought full tilt into the international discourse. We've had countries refer to the problems in Balochistan, including the European Union. Now we have the Indus Water Treaty. There seems to be a rethink on the treaty itself and what we can do with the provisions of the treaty. Thirdly, there is a push to isolate Pakistan, and that push is being led by the Prime Minister, and it is reflecting in the statements that are being made by the British, by countries like the United States, and a whole host of others like Afghanistan, and in our backyard, Bangladesh. That's heavy diplomacy. That's changing the narrative.
Can I answer?
Yes, sir.
Can I answer? Yeah. See, let us try to be constructive and let us go one by one. Forget what has happened in the last half an hour or 1 hour, of which I don't know. But till as of 5:30 today evening, after 9/10 days, the following minimal, simple things had not been done. It's no point then talking at Kozhikode or talking to your cabinet or talking to the cameras or on Twitter. 1. No special session called or attempted to be called. 2. No declaration even prior to the special session by the government of India, which is of course meaningless, but at least a declaration of intent that Pakistan is a terrorist state, but immediately followed by a special session of parliament which will so declare it. Third, absolute economic sanctions which Rahul, even those most affected by it, that is India Incorporated, the corporate sector is asking for. 3. Withdrawal of MFN. 4. If you have brought Balochistan into the discourse, why does it take you 1 week of neither saying yes nor no to Bhukti? You brought it into the discourse. Either he is eligible or is not eligible. Grant him or reject his asylum application. 5. If not withdrawing high commissioners respectively, but at least scaling down the size of the respective high commissions to send a signal. It can always be scaled back. 7. Of course, isolation, diplomatic lobbying here and there, some of which is being done. Now, these are very specific 7 suggestions. In 10 days, none of them have been done. Maybe one of them has been done, as you say, as we speak, but not till 5:30 p.m.
Okay.
That's the point we are making. Imagine if you spoke today in the UN.
Okay,
With
Professor
all her
Nanapat.
valiant effort, Sushma Swaraj spoke with this behind her. Imagine the prestige of India.
Do you think
Imagine
this
the
would have,
prestige of India.
you know, people will say that the UPA also had an opportunity to do precisely this but failed. So I'm asking you, is this the failure of the Indian state and this regime to match?
Very important. Just 1 second.
1 second, he says. Yes,
So,
go
1
ahead.
second. 1 second.
Go ahead, sir.
Just 1 second. We had 2611. 2611 is not recurred. We enhanced the IB. We created an NCTC which this government has not notified. We created a NAT grid, one of the most comprehensive national grids of terrorist information. They have not operationalized it. The CEO has been sacked. the police modernization was implemented with huge
But
funds
sir,
from
that
the
still
centre.
not amounts to
Last
punishing
budget to stop
Pakistan.
those funds.
I can appreciate that you were trying to save Indian lives, but you are the ones who are talking about revenge continually.
I'm talking of
You are talking about revenge.
Defensive measures.
Okay, defense is...
One second.
Yeah.
One second. Had Uri and Pathankot had 2611 been followed by something similar, I'm sure we would have done. 2611 is not recurred. We were watching it very
It's
clearly.
hardly a defense, sir.
Pathankot and Uri together.
You have to measure the provocation with the response. That's what we're doing here.
No,
That's what
for
we're
22
doing. One
years.
second, let me bring in Professor
I
Nalapal.
agree.
I understand the point you're making, singularly. And I don't mean to constantly look back into the past, because that will serve no purpose, Professor Nalapal. But the fact is that administration after administration has been at sea. Has a start been made to take steps to punish Pakistan, or are we still in the same doldrum?
Sitting on the fence.
Are we still, in the
Rahul,
doldrums?
if
Yeah.
you look across the line of control or the international border, those units of the Indian Army
Coming to you,
that respond in a very vigorous way
Yeah.
to any kind of Pakistani provocation are the units which frankly the Pakistanis generally try and leave alone. And those units that respond more weakly are the ones that are often sought to be hammered. The reality is that the Pakistan Army is a force that does not believe in compromise, does not believe in conciliation, and takes any such move as a sign of weakness. It believes in effective action. Now, Indus Waters, I am delighted that finally there seems to be some rethink on Indus Waters. If this suspension of talks is followed by concrete action to make this extremely unequal treaty more fair to India, that will be terrific, but that action has got to follow this stoppage of talk. I want to make just 2 or 3 quick points. One is, once again we are asking the United Nations and the international community to solve the problem. I mean, they're going to say, what are you doing first? And in that context, I would say, for example, the minimum thing will be declare the Pakistan Army a terrorist army. Ask the defense attaché to go back. And at least that one can do.
7 points that
besides
have been
other
by the
steps.
Congress.
And we have to show the way, quite frankly. And the last point about Kashmir. I mean, frankly...
So no one is going to do your bidding for you. You have to begin to do your bidding for yourself. That's what you're saying.
I've had the good luck to travel across the world and give lectures. Nobody is really interested in Kashmir. Frankly, this is something that could have been totally ignored. Nobody in the world is concerned about Kashmir anymore. Nawaz Sharif, maybe in his hometown or some constituencies in Pakistan or in Mirpur or in some parts of London where there are some Pakistani congregation. Otherwise, the whole world, quite frankly, has forgotten Kashmir. And I think from that point of view, why raise it once again?
Why raise it once again? Jiva Narasimha, some points that have been made by Professor Nalapal, your response to them, sir, in the context of what Dr. Singhvi was also saying.
No, first let me respond to...
I'm coming to you, Pawan Verma, right after this. Right after this, I'm coming to
the
you.
Congress party first.
Yes.
They have... Can I...
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I think the 10 years of the Congress rule, they have actually, 10 years of Congress rule, they have weakened the fight against terror. They have actually given
But, sir,
a
that was
handle
the past.
consistently
I meant to say that was the past. We can't
beat
keep dredging
India,
up the past.
to berate India.
The past is
No,
gone.
no.
We can't rewrite the past. We can rewrite the
you
future.
cannot, no, when a principal opposition party tries to lecture us on 26/11, what was the stand of Digvijay Singh?
Well, don't
He
fall
said
for
this
the
is an
bait,
attack
sir.
planned
Tell the
by the
world they want to
RSS.
hear. Forget about...
Is he a cadre of Jaish-e-Mohammed?
No, tell the world, sir.
Is he a cadre of elite?
So
How can Congress party leaders
let's not make
how can they
statements.
claim? How can they take a high moral ground?
But how will that change?
They have weakened the fight against terrorism. So they need not...
Rahul, I'm worried about
So you're in power to change the... Okay, gentlemen, please. 1 second, sir, please.
You
1
have
second.
to keep the past in perspective.
Jiva Narasimha Rao,
No,
there is,
Rahul.
how many people
No,
are you going to
now
avenge? You're going to avenge the
we're talking
UPA?
about the
Are you
present
going to avenge
context.
Pakistan? Today the question is, let's avenge Pakistan. So I'm asking you tonight, sir, are we short on action, demonstrable action? Simple question.
What have we done?
No, You see, tell me, every time such a build-up happened, every time, now Pakistan is a nervous wreck. It's planning to fight a war, thinking that India is going to take an aggressive stance. Pakistan thinks India will send its troops across and they are preparing for a war. This would not happen unless they feel India is gearing up its preparations. India is really posing a challenge. They would not do it if India was sitting at home. Number one. Number two, Balochistan. The statements and the stand taken by the government, by the Prime Minister has cornered Pakistan within its own country. It is unable to control its own provinces. How can it fight India? Has it not happened with a lot of planning? And the whole range of military and economic options are under consideration of the government. You have heard DGMO say.
So is it wrong?
We will
To exercise strategic restraint?
I want General Malik to know. This is a stand taken by the Indian Army.
Pavan Verma, is it wrong to demonstrate strategic restraint? Is it wrong, Pavan Verma, to demonstrate strategic restraint, to behave like a responsible global power, to suggest that we are not knee-jerk, Pavan Verma? Is it wrong? Pavan Verma, if you can hear me, can you hear me? Is it wrong, Pavan Verma, to demonstrate strategic to behave like a responsible global power? Okay, I think we lost him there. But I think he's getting the general drift of my question. I want to ask you, General, wrong to demonstrate strategic restraint?
No, strategic restraint doesn't mean strategic passivity. You have been struck by the Pakistani Fedayeen at Uri. You lost 18 soldiers. You've said that we will avenge their loss. 10 days on, we have done nothing. We said we will isolate Pakistan on the question of isolation. We have done nothing except listed an inventory of doables, but done nothing.
Okay, let Pavan Verma
must
respond.
not continue to sit on
Let
the
Pavan
bench.
Verma respond, sir. Go ahead, Pavan Verma.
We said we will isolate Pakistan.
Rahul, 3 or 4 quick points.
Yes. Go ahead, sir.
Rahul, 3 or 4 quick points.
Yes.
But done nothing.
Okay, let Pavan.
My first point is to General Mehta on the demeanor of Sushma Swaraj. I just want to say in passing that important speeches are meant to be read, not heard. So it does not so much matter whether she's delivered it in the right level of punch or in the right demeanor. Second point I want to say, and really I'm a little disappointed with Mr. Narasimha Rao today. You know, the threshold of satisfaction of a ruling party which has suffered the outrage of Uri and Pathankot in such quick succession seems to be so low that they are actually going to the other extreme of euphoria by saying Pakistan is a nervous wreck, it is expecting a war, it is about to be... they are forgetting that international relations is not about suddenly claiming that which may not be happening on the ground, but talking less and planning more. In fact, I would have expected an intelligence response to say that for a country like India, action need not happen in 8 or 9 days. All options have to be carefully considered. The pros and cons have to be weighed, and India will react inappropriately, but not necessarily to somebody else's timetable, but will act definitively. If he had said that, I would have given BJP high marks. But the kind of achievements he is claiming, they are completely based on a premature, useless, totally unrealistic euphoria.
Yeah. Okay, no, one second.
Now the next point, please allow me to finish, sir. You see, therefore I am saying that the last point I wish to make, Rahul, is that we don't need to do tutu meme on this. I already praised Sushma Swaraj's speech.
Yeah, well, I can tell you that Shashi Tharoor has also come out and praised the EM, saying that like all MEA drafted speeches, it was a well-crafted and well-written speech. I think the thrust of the message was a good one and that Indians can stand behind the message We'll take a short break. G.V. Narasimha Rao, I'm expecting a response. D.P. Tripathi, we will talk a little bit about whether this government is demonstrating strategic passivity or strategic restraint. We come back in 2 minutes precisely. Stay with us.
This program is brought to you by Volkswagen and associated with Volvo. Pain doesn't stand a chance. Go you, go daddy. Aquaguard, Shrut Se Zyada, Sehat Ka Wada. And Airtel, India's first open network.
The feeling when something so good becomes even better. The all-new Skoda Express.
Is India demonstrating strategic passivity or strategic restraint? G.V. Narasimha Rao, respond to that question, sir, as well as what Pawan Verma has been saying before the break. Okay, we're having a few problems connecting to him. Let's just take them all on air so I get a clear line of sight as to who is ready and who is not. Yes, Professor Nalapal.
You know, I want to say it's no surprise that Shashi Tharoor and other individuals who remember Jawaharlal Nehru. I think, Mr. Surjewala probably remembers Indira Gandhi but not Nehru, are praising the speech. Because as I repeat, it's a very Nehruvian speech. Now, frankly, either, you go full tilt or you don't name at all. Now, you go up to Pakistan and then you go halfway. It's a typical bureaucratic situation in which you're neither here nor there.
Okay.
And I would have liked to see her go full tilt. And the second thing is, look, you have to limit your message to a few key points. If you talk about everything under the sun, of course, like Prime Minister Nehru did with such great effect, this was a wonderful speech, beautifully crafted, excellent language, beautifully delivered, but it covered so many points that people were confused. What is more important?
Message was diffused. What is the primacy of this message?
Action, Rahul. After Pathankot, Uri should not have happened.
Okay, Pawan Verma is raising his hand.
Rolled for Uri. In Kargil, let me tell you, hardly any head rolled. Some brigadier was cashiered. He was made the scapegoat. All the generals escaped. The fact that Pakistan was allowed to take over so many posts in Kargil.
Gentlemen,
we should not see a repeat of Kargil.
You're much wiser, much more experienced. The only thing that worries me is no mention of 26/11, that watershed terror attack. And I just have this awful feeling that we are bouncing from terror attack to terror attack, forgetting that Pakistan needs to be held accountable for past crimes. 26/11 was massive in scale. Pawan Verma and D.P. Tripathi, your final views. D.P. Tripathi, go first. Are we stuck between strategic restraint and strategic passivity? General Mehta is convinced that we are stuck between these two stools.
I don't think so. Actually, in such situations, I would still argue that a strategic restraint is necessary. It should not be understood as a strategic passivity. A great nation like India cannot react like a terrorist sponsoring state like Pakistan.
Okay.
That is my opinion.
Okay. So any adventurism would equate us with the state that we are trying to put in a basket.
Second point that I wish to make very briefly is...
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
That warmongering, especially warmongering, is always done by those forces which have always a kind of already Pakistan is continuing undeclared war against India, not merely from 26/11, but before that also. That has to be understood. That is the hard fact.
Okay. Okay. Pawan Verma, go ahead, sir.
Well, last quick word. I think that government should not be pushed into premature adventurism in order to satisfy populist statements like that of Ram Madhav that will take a jaw for a tooth. I mean, this is the problem with the BJP. It's talking in too many voices and perhaps just simply talking too much. Great nations should plan. carefully and not so much make public announcements all the time. But having said that, I can just end by one line. If it was an opposition government in power today, the BJP would have brought the skies down, saying that Uri happened and Pathankot happened, what have you done? And today, at the risk of being called anti-national, I want to ask the BJP that why did Uri and Pathankot happen so quickly without the requisite measures being taken to prevent Uri? Now, if I ask this question and ask for a review of intelligence and the role and equipment and needs of our army, am I to be called anti-national? Will they try to camouflage all questions, even of a constructive nature, under the garb of ultra-nationalism? This is ridiculous. I praise Sushma Swaraj's speech, but even the but that I added at the end, saying more has to be done as follow-up, was seen by Mr. Narasimha.
Maybe the opposition also needs to demonstrate a little bit of strategic restraint, sir. I mean, the speech has hardly been broadcast when three, spokespeople of the Congress party hammered away. Maybe the opposition also needs, maybe we all need to exercise a bit of strategic restraint, the media included. So, I would.
But Rahul, you heard what I said.
No, I did. I am not taking it away from you. But I think that sections of the opposition, whether it was the BJP when they were in opposition or the Congress today, I think we need to learn that you cannot be united and expect, really, at the end of the day, anyone from any other part of the world to take you seriously. General Mehta, let's be honest about that too.
There are two things, Rahul. We are not a war-mongering nation. We do not want war at all. Because,
who wants it?
Yeah, absolutely. But there are a number of things that we must be able to do to respond to things like attack on Parliament, no reply, to Mumbai, no reply, Pathankot, no reply.
No, but there hasn't been, at the risk of contradicting you, there hasn't been strategic inaction or passivity.
No,
look at the 3 or 4 steps
that
have been
from
taken.
the point of view of the soldiers want to know why is it that we are being hit without being able to hit back. And the answer to that was given by the former National Security Advisor not long ago, saying that we could not respond in 2008 because we do not have those surgical capabilities.
Sir, look,
we still don't have those capabilities.
Look, you always run the risk when you adopt a military solution. You always run the risk of escalation.
Rahul,
one second,
this is not a military solution.
Let's not get swept up, sir, in the emotions that have gripped us all after Uri. I think I'm just going to leave it at that. So I've really run out of time. I'm terribly sorry. I've really run out of time. We've heard the speech. I leave it to the viewers to decide whether it hit home or not. You might be disappointed by the lack, perhaps, of feverish delivery that D.P. Tripathi called hot. But the fact of the matter is that heat, when it is generated, is also difficult to curtail. I don't think anyone wants India to get beyond herself in her response to Pakistan. Let's take it easy. Let's take things through. We come back. There has been a game changer. The Modi government has introduced it. We have decided to cut the supply of water to Pakistan. It could pose an existential threat in the years to come to Pakistan if it's not listening to the message and the pleas of successive Indian governments. There could be a price to pay. We take a short break. We return to that big debate and that big move.
Nature wants everyone to have their own shelter, whether it's a stylish designer home or a conversation-filled duplex. At PNB Housing, with easy online access, doorstep delivery, and an amazingly friendly service, the door to your dream home opens easier with us. PNB Housing Finance.
हम इस लड़के को जानते हैं, महेंद्र सिंह धोनी।